match. India have won the series.
They're going to get back for two. India at home. Lords goes wild.
Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the 81 All Out podcast. I'm Siddhartha Vaidyanathan at SidV on Twitter. And I'm joined today by two 81 All Out pod regulars. There's Subhash Jayaraman, who's the cricket coach on Twitter. Hi, Subhash.
Hi, Sid. Thanks for taking over the hosting duties from me. Thank you.
Thank you for filling in and doing a great job in the last few editions. And also, we have Ashoka here at ABVan on Twitter. Hi, Ashok.
Hey, man.
So we're here to talk about the India versus West Indies match at the World Cup. 125-run victory for India. And they're the only team in the World Cup that's been undefeated so far. And West Indies go out of the World Cup. I mean, they had a very slim chance anyway, but now they are well and truly out. So let's chat about the game. Interesting game for, especially from the bowling aspect. Subhash, what did you make of India's performance? Did you think 268 was a good job on this pitch against the kind of bowling that they faced?
I did not think 268 was going to be enough during the first half of the innings, as around the 35th over, 40th over, based on the amount of movement of the pitch. There was really no movement through the air, but there was, if you hit the seam, maintain a fuller length, there was movement, based on how Kemar Roach and Jason Holder bowled, not only restricted the batsman, but also took wickets. I thought 270, 275 would be a score that India will be able to defend. But then when India came on to bowl, they actually bowled even better than what West Indies did this morning. So it kind of became a runaway game in the end. But at that point, I thought, India did not have enough, or maybe they have just enough. But the amount of turn both the wrist spinners were able to get, and Shami basically recreated the delivery that pretty much Jason Holder bowled to KL Rahul, right, through the gate. In the Rahul's case, there was an inside edge, whereas in case of Shai Hope, there was no inside edge. So quite similar deliveries. But then Indian bowlers took it to a higher level, and West Indies, they kind of play in either zero gear or 21st gear. That's it. There's nothing in between.
Talking about West Indies, they had, at least in the last year or so, have put together some good test performances. I mean, there was that fine win against England in that series, and they have a bowling attack that can really give any team good run in tests. And they're of course a legendary T20 team. They probably have had a decade of phenomenal success in T20s. But this one-day game in between, like you said, they don't seem to have found that gear, right? Is it because you can't go all out in a one-day game, or is it just because they're not doing it well enough?
I mean, if you look at a spectrum, cricket as a spectrum, T20 is on one end of the spectrum and Test match cricket is on the other end of the spectrum. And ODI does not have a very definite place between these two. ODI is like some mixture of Tests and T20s, and a lot of that it's determined by whether it is, what kind of wicket you're playing on, what kind of overhead conditions you have, and how skillful are your players. So it could turn out to be a T20 game where it's a bat fee bat, 350, somebody is chasing it down, or it could be something, a very low scoring total, and because the pitch is difficult, so you can't really hit through the line, etc. So if you're playing ODI, as you said, West Indies, they have shown that they're masters of T20 with their uber aggressive approach. And they've also shown that they have enough skill within the players they have in the system to play test match cricket and beat an opposition over multiple days. However, when it comes to ODI, I don't think they have figured out, and I don't think they have the right personnel just yet that have figured out ODI. Plus, also, I think maybe it was Jared that made this point in the mid-tournament review, where he said, they haven't had the time for the squad to hang together and play together, because some of these guys were added into the squad pretty much at the last minute. Because they have been in multiple games where you would say like, well, West Indies could have won, should have won if one or two things went their way. You could make that argument even in this game. They were bowling really well, and India was 133 for 4 when Shai Hope missed the stumping of Dhoni. He was still batting with Kohli, so you don't know what Kohli would have done. If you're looking at the sliding doors moment, that's another sliding doors moment. They had the similar things with Australia and who else? Bangladesh, etc.
New Zealand maybe not, but yeah, Australia and Bangladesh for sure.
Yeah, so they've had multiple moments like that, and you could say even today, if Dhoni gets stumped and then some freak of nature, either one of two, Hardik Pandya or Kohli gets out, then it's the tail with more than 16 overs to bat, and India does not get to 268. India gets to say at best 200. You're chasing 4. Your entire batting approach is different. Now you play a test match entirely. Or if it was a flat wicket and India had scored 350, they would have come in knowing this is a T20. We can play. Oh, this is a test match. We can play. Oh shit, this is ODI. We don't know what to do. So I think that's been the weakness.
Also, I think their bowling, they've got a better bowling than they have used in this World Cup. They should have played a Roach or Gabriel all their matches, one of these. Because O'Shane and Cottrell are way too inexperienced to even fall back to a line and length approach or a plan B when the obvious short ball technique doesn't work. Right. So one of them should have always been playing. And you can see the benefit of playing Roach in this match when there is at least some help. He doesn't have to necessarily rely on the short ball alone. And these two are very good test bowlers for them. They have been doing well in the last 1 year. So even if they play both of them and at the cost of the spinner, Nurse or Fabian Allen, they could actually pose a decent attack where 3 bowlers like Gabriel, Roach and Holder can give them some amount of control, and they can attack with a Cottrell or say even a Russell or with the short ball. So they squandered a lot of chances by not picking their best bowling attack. Forget about the batting for a moment. Bowling is where I think they lost at least 2-3 matches.
I mean, it is kind of emblematic of how they were approached the entire tournament, isn't it? Where they have been overly aggressive and everything, basically. So even with their bowling, they saw it worked against Pakistan, and then they overdid it. They kept overdoing it. I think, Ashoka, you mentioned it about the game against England, where you said Root was well past 40 or something, and they kept still trying to bounce him. And Root is one of the best horizontal bat player in the game. So I think they just overdid pretty much everything. That also reveals a more fundamental insecurity, I would say, in their own abilities. As to if we play a percentage game, if we play a skill game, maybe they don't stack up as well as you and I might think against top opposition. Maybe they can beat Bangladesh. Bangladesh are a very good team. I should say Bangladesh. Maybe they can beat Pakistan, which depends on the day, or maybe they could beat Afghanistan or Sri Lanka, even New Zealand to an extent. But against India and Australia, you're going to get exposed if you don't have a very solid plan with the solid quality of players backing it.
Yeah, and they have gone out of the World Cup with still two games left for them to play. But talking just if in retrospect, there was this game against Australia where they were very close. There was this game against Bangladesh where they had their some very good chances, and there was this game against New Zealand, of course, which went till which was a few inches away from that 6 that might have got them the win. So even if they had won maybe 1 or 2, if they had somehow won 2 of those games, then they are looking at a situation where they are almost in the Pakistan zone, where they have games against Sri Lanka and Afghanistan, and then they are in with a good shot of semis if England mess up. So yes, they have been. What I'm trying to say is, they have definitely been one of the poorer teams in the World Cup, but a few good lucky breaks maybe here and there could have brought them into contention. There's also probably a lack of depth there because there is only so many players you can pick up once you have that squad. But in India's case, I mean, they had two big injuries with Shikhar Dhawan and Bhuvneshwar Kumar, perhaps two of the best one-day players going around in the world, but they have managed to plug the gaps pretty well, right? I mean, you have Mohammad Shami, who's come in and who's like now one of the stars of the tournament. And then you have KL Rahul, who's doing a good job up front. I mean, today was a good innings, right?
I would say like 50-50 in terms of plugging the gaps, because Shami is kind of like for like switch for Bhuvneshwar Kumar. He has to bowl with the new ball, come in at 8. If you make runs, great. That's his role. Whereas KL Rahul was into the team as a number 4, and that was the obvious hole in India's lineup. And with Dhawan's injury, now he's going up to 1, and that destabilizes the order. Because now, who do you play at 4? Well, Vijay Shankar, Kedar Jadhav, Dhoni, Hardik Pandya, we don't know. So I would say India managed the obvious loss of Bhuvneshwar Kumar with Shami because they are equally talented bowlers and with very, very similar roles. Whereas Rahul brought into the team for one thing, now he's doing a different role. So, and it's showing. It's showing in how India is still very gun shy of trying to hit boundaries in the middle over because they know they have a very long tail and shaky middle order. It could open up any time. I mean, that was West Indies' goal coming into this game, that get Rohit Sharma, get Kohli as soon as possible, get it to the middle order, and maybe you can bundle out India for 180, which is very doable. It's just that no team, Afghanistan is the closest that has come to it.
Yeah, that I think even more than Virat Kohli, right? I think teams are now gunning only for Rohit Sharma because he's the guy who, if he stays for 40-45, India are looking at 325, 330 rather than some 260, 270. I'm not saying that India can't defend 260, 270, but 320 makes them like near invincible with a bowling attack like that. So it's very strategic that if you get Rohit Sharma in the first 20 runs, this is not going to be, I mean, it's going to be very, very hard for India because Kohli himself is doing a very Dhoni-like role in calculating what he can do while keeping the score along as well. But he's obviously not taking the risks that he may have if say Rohit is batting on 45-50. He's not doing that. So yeah, I think I would also feel that Shikhar Dhawan missing out on injury is a bigger blow than say a Bhuvneshwar Shami replacement. Though I would say Bhuvneshwar has some capabilities with the bat that I would seriously not credit Shami with. Bhuvneshwar can stick around if there is like a 180 for 7 situation, 180 for 6 situation. Dhoni would rather have a Bhuvneshwar saying, Macha, at least take some singles. He can trust Bhuvneshwar to do that. But I don't think anybody much, I mean, even Shami doesn't trust himself to stay 15-20 balls. That would be like a wonder even for him, let alone others.
And the poor guy tries to pull the ball that is aimed at his rib cage. He keeps gloving it. I think the last, how many ever Shami dismissal, maybe 6, 5 of them are gloved down the leg side. Weird.
Yeah.
Also, Ashoka, that's a valid point great point about Kohli. How Kohli is playing like Dhoni, right? Because Kohli, when he bats, depending on if it is Rohit Sharma on the other end or not, he has to play for the rest of the middle order and guide them through, take him to 45. Whereas, Rohit Sharma, if he's there till like 40th over, basically game set, and you get Pandya coming in to 4, Dhoni 5, Jadhav, it's done. So opposition targeting Rohit Sharma, that makes the most sense because KL Rahul, after 40 runs, he's going to give you a wicket anyway.
But talking about this, this middle order thing, I mean, this has, of course, been a discussion that's been going on for, 1 year before the World Cup almost, and this hunt for number 4, and now it's continued on to Rahul opening the batting, and still, that's Vijay Shankar batted at 4, batted today, and then you have, there is this discussion every time 4, 5, 6, 7 are batting. It's either about Dhoni's strike rate, or it's about Vijay Shankar not making a sizable contribution or something or the other. But my one thing I've been thinking about is that most teams that even go on to win World Cups, right? They're not like perfect. They have some chink or the other going. I still remember 2003. Every game, people used to talk about Australia's weak 5th bowler because they were relying on Simons and Lehman and to come and bowl, get that quota. But no team ever took advantage of that. So I sometimes wonder if, we are expecting like a perfect Indian team when, this is a chink that they probably have to live with and still go on and go as far as possible, if not going all the way, try and do their best to cover it up, right?
True. But I think with the players that are available in the squad, with 15 they have, I think they can do some finagling. However, the management might think like, these are the players we're going to play. These are our best 11. Pant and DK, they can, warm the benches, but these are the 11 we're going to play with. They may have already made the decision. Who knows? But there is still that number 4. If you're going to have KL Rahul open, then number 4, you could bring in Dinesh Karthik instead of Vijay Shankar. Or, you can still keep Vijay Shankar and not pick Kedar Jadhav. That shows the batting order a little bit more. Or you could go with like Rishabh Pant opening the batting with Rohit Sharma and have KL Rahul at 4. But then that changes the entire team philosophy of how they have played the first 10 overs so far in the last 2-3 years, or since 2013 really, where you play the first 10 overs slow, don't lose a wicket, and then build on it. I don't know whether Rishabh Pant actually plays into that. Maybe Dinesh Karthik has opened in England in 2007. Maybe he is an option. But I would say that having KL Rahul at 4 is a better option than putting him up at number 1 and having Vijay Shankar and Kedar Jadhav coming at 4 and 5.
One thing to add here is like if you trust your top 4 batsmen, there's no need to elongate your batting order. In the same way, if you trust your top 4 bowlers, your main bowlers who bowl 40 overs, you don't need 7 bowling options on a day, right?
I agree.
That's why I feel that it doesn't have to be Vijay Shankar and Kedar Jadhav. It can be Vijay Shankar / Kedar Jadhav. With Hardik Pandya, a reliable 5th option anyways. He can bowl 10 overs in the day when there is assistance to seam. So I think that is what India has to decide. Like, how do they shore up the batting, given that Rohit Sharma is their one potential player who can take them past 300. They should try to add one more batting option where they can have that extra leeway if things get screwed up at the top. So
the whole idea is that, I agree with you, Ashoka, but it's possible that the Indian team management thinks having Vijay Shankar and Kedar Jadhav is that additional batting option.
It will be interesting to see if India manage to beat England and confirm their semi-final slot. It'll be interesting to see what they then do against in the last 2 games. Whether they're trying to give the other players a chance, like maybe a Dinesh Karthik a chance or Rishabh Pant a chance, or if they say, hey, this is our formula and this is what.
Jadeja, man, poor guy, he's doing fielding and no batting. He can come in as a like-for-like replacement for Vijay Shankar, really. Jadeja.
Yeah,
really, at number 4?
Not at number 4. I'm saying bowler plus a bat that gives you like 25. Jadeja can give you 25 runs off the bat.
Yeah, and I think as a bowler on that pitch, especially if it's like the
what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, he'll be handful, man. Yeah. But talking about the bowling, I have to bring up that ball that Mohammad Shami bowled to Shai Hope. Ooh. That was something, right?
That was beautiful. Shai Hope's response to that ball, he was like, he had that quizzical look on his face. It's like, what had just happened? Like typically people will have that kind of look if the ball kept low. But this one was, beautiful delivery, ramrod straight seam, lands on that, and then cuts in, takes the top of off. That's what dreams are made of, man.
Yeah. So, see, this is the thing, right? So, we were also chatting just before this podcast that Shami, when he's on a roll, right, he's something else. Like, even in South Africa, where he used to just amble across in the first innings and then just somehow find mojo in the second innings. I think he bowled very similar delivery to Bavuma, if I remember right.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
same, the one that pitches outside off and then just comes inside and takes the top of off stump. That I was thinking, Macha, if you're here, why the fuck did you not do this in the first innings? Oh man! So Shami gave a lot of heartache during the Test series in South Africa, like every second innings. But even then, I think even on Twitter, I remember there was a talk that when Shami is in form, he is like another level altogether. Even Bhuneshwar and Bumrah, they don't reach the peaks that this guy does. That they are consistently steady, but this guy has like another peak that
Yeah, he has another extra place to go to.
yeah. Just that he's not that consistent always. Like we would like him to be consistent, but that again is unrealistic. But
I mean, that would make him an all-time great bowler.
yeah,
I mean, the best part about this bowling attack is like it is a test bowling attack, right? You have Shami, Bumrah, and the two leg spinners. It may well, I mean, given their attacking instincts and the variety that they have, the pace that these two guys can give you at the top, and then the lovely sort of. In fact, Dhoni kept on telling the spinners, bowl slower throughout, and it's the variation that this team has. It's something that I don't know. I can't remember too many instances of an Indian team having such a variety. I mean, of course, if you have a left arm seamer, then it would just complete the whole thing perfectly.
No, we've had variety. We've always had variety. I mean, India has all. I shouldn't say we. India has always had. India has always had variety, and as did any other team. It's just that the variety is so freaking good. All any of these four bowlers on their own are capable of taking a fifer every match.
Yeah. I mean, variety allied with quality. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Not just variety. Yeah.
I mean, it was so beautiful when Chahal came on to bowl and Holder is batting, right? He gets hit for a four and then they adjust. Virat Kohli goes and talks. And then they set an extra cover and then a slightly deeper extra cover. And the ball gets tossed up and Holder is beaten in flight. He's not up to the pitch of the ball. So he's trying to hit the cover drive again and he has no control of the shot and goes straight into Mr. Kedar Jadhav's hand. That was beautiful bowling. So, I mean, these guys are planning and executing just the way they want. I mean, Athas may have mentioned, or Harsha Bhogle, I forget, on commentary about, Dhoni telling. The fact that Dhoni is saying what to do and these guys are like doing it, ball after ball.
Yeah, there was one where Harsha Bhogle clearly said also. He said that he's told Chahal to flight a leg break outside off. And that's exactly what he did. And there was the edge that went past the slip. And then the camera panned to the bowler and then panned to Dhoni, like almost as if the cameraman had also like heard the commentary. And then you could see, the reaction to that. I mean, there was a plan. It almost worked, but hey, okay, let's try something else again.
So, I mean, if you're a seamer, right? You're a great delivery. What you want to bowl, pitch the ball on fourth stump, either swings away or cuts in and takes top of off, hits top of off. That's what you want to bowl, right? Spinner, depending on what kind of spinner you are, you want to bowl, take it away, bring it in. You're wrong gun, blah blah blah. That's all. Anybody that has a ball in their hand, no matter what level of cricket you're playing, that's what you want to do. More often than not, you'll never get to do it. Wanting is one, and actually seeing it happen is different. But the fact that there are four bowlers within one team that are capable of wanting it and executing it more often than not is preposterous.
And one of the things of this team, I mean, there's such a as a bowling unit such a joy to watch, because I mean, I've been watching this through the World Cup, is that even though it is not a wicket ball, there is always something to really admire in some of the sort of plans that is being put forth. Like Kuldeep against Pakistan, I thought that spell that he bowled to Fakhar Zaman was a fantastic spell to just watch. I mean, it was great entertainment, but it was also great cricketing theatre. You could see the thought process that was going into it, and of course, there was, there was a lot of pressure in terms of the scoreboard as well. But just if you purely just see as a bat versus ball, there's a lot of joy to it. And today, Bumrah on a hat trick to Roach, he bowls that slower ball. And I'm like, the reaction immediately after that, and it just brings the whole crowd in, right? There's like a performative aspect to it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, that's it's the hat trick delivery. So, and it's a tail ended. So the odds are that stumps are going to be attacked, right? But even other than that, when you watch a game in the stadium, especially if it's a test match, you actually see how the field is set, and now you know what the bowler wants to do, and then you judge on whether the bowler is able to deliver that. You could set a 3 slips, gully, point, cover, and then bowl a ball that slides down leg, one famous fast bowler from Mumbai used to do for India, who got a 6 for 41 at some point. And with this World Cup, they are showing you the map of the field too. Every second or third delivery, you see the field map. So you look at that, where the fielders are and where they're being moved. And sometimes they give you even the name tags of the players. And so you can follow as to what the plans are. The bowlers and the captain, they're trying to execute for different batsmen. From that sense, watching this match for both West Indies bowlers as well as Indian bowlers, it was a treat to watch. Even though the contest in terms of a team v team was not so much, the contest in terms of bat v ball was fantastic.
But one thing I would definitely want to talk about this game, because it is unlikely that at the end of the tournament that people are going to really highlight this one passage of play. Partly because it's going to be from a team that went out early, or partly because many people may not even remember it. But that Jason Holder spell today, especially when he was bowling to Kohli and Rahul, was tremendously enjoyable, right? I mean, very good fast bowling, seam bowling.
Jason Holder has shown himself to be a very, very dependable, first change bowler, even in Test match cricket. So it's not, he wasn't. And even in this tournament, he has bowled really well. And he's a very smart cricketer. Rightfully the captain of the side. And he quickly summed up the conditions and knew what lengths to hit on this pitch. I'm sure he saw Kemar Roach bowl on the wicket, and he knew what to do. I mean, to bowl against, Kohli and KL Rahul, I'm not saying boundary hitters and stuff. Guys that are quite capable. I mean, Rahul not so much as Kohli, but guys that are capable of hitting the gaps, getting the ones and, scoring 4 runs and over and yada, yada, yada. The guy comes and bowls 46 dot balls, man, out of 60. I mean, that is insanely good performance. Let me see. Holder, 10 overs, 2 maidens, 2 for 33. And, the batsman respected the lines and the lengths he was bowling, and they were leaving the ball alone a lot of the times too. Even ICC gets a shit ton of garbage thrown in the direction, and a lot of them deservedly so. But the pitches, at least most of the pitches that ICC pitch committee has put out for this competition have been fantastic, and it has allowed for test match bowling to happen. You can set test match fields, and you can't just blitz your way through and get very tall scores, which is a phenomenal thing to watch.
Yeah, the other thing I wanted to bring Ashoka in, actually, some of the top teams in this tournament, I mean, they have been bowling especially as if, this is a test match. I mean, the way Australia or India, or if you see many of the teams, they have test match attacks that they've brought in, right?
Yeah, and that was what I was about to say with in connection to Jason Holder as well. So, anyone who's surprised or even thinks that Jason Holder can put in a performance like this only has to see his record, test record of 2018. He has some, that was a year dominated by Bumrah or even say a Nathan Lyon or something. But Jason Holder has a phenomenal 2018 record. He has come of age as a bowler himself. Like he didn't have that kind of a bowling authority years previous to that. So he is a guy who can actually hold his own for 10 overs. And coming back to the test attack and test lengths, I mean, the tournament did not start that way actually. I mean, there were a couple of 300, 350 scores, but as it has progressed, I mean, it has evened out a lot for bowlers. I mean, we are seeing Stark coming back, even Cummins. I was impressed with even Afghanistan's Gulbuddin Naib, who was bowling really well, line and length bowling. It was not some hacky short ball approach or toe crushers. If you see, actually, the people who have suffered are Jofra Archer. Jofra Archer does pick one or two wickets per match, but he doesn't offer you the kind of control that these pitches require. It has slightly been on, and that has been England's detriment as well. Like they have relied on Mark Wood and Jofra Archer, and you see that effect not in their defeats, but in that match that you were mentioning, right? When Ian Morgan hit like 17 sixes, but the slight red flag that they had was their bowlers couldn't bowl Afghanistan out because they were relying on bouncing them out or trying to do the toe crusher instead of relying on line and length. And the teams that have done well are the guys who have gone back and said, yeah, traditional test match bowling or traditional line and length, that has given far better results than say specialized limited over bowling.
I completely agree. Having specialists doing specialist jobs.
All right. So on that note, thanks so much, Subhash and Ashoka, for joining us on this review podcast.
Thanks, Sid.
Thanks, man.
And you can check out all our previous podcasts at 81allout.com. You can follow us on Twitter at 81allout. And you can subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast, or any other platform that you prefer. Also, a shout out to our sister podcast on movies, which is on Twitter at The Other Banana. And the website is whereistheotherbanana.com. And they do some great reviews of regional movies, largely South Indian movies, but they also occasionally do some Bollywood movies from time to time. So please check them out and keep listening. Send us feedback, and it'll be great to hear from you. Thanks and goodbye.
In the air, Srishan takes it! India win!
He'll come back for the second. India have won the test match. India have won the series.
They're going to get back for two. India at home. Lords goes